And this is the venue for the latest in the series of New Age business briefings brought to you by the SABC and today sponsored by Transnet. And we're talking all issues around energy. And my guest today, the Minister of Energy, Mr. Dikobe Ben Martins. And next to him is Pindile Baleni, who's the CEO of NERSA, the National Energy Regulator of South Africa, and also Mr. Ompe Apano, who's the Deputy DG, Policy Planning and Clean Energy at the Department of Energy. And we're going to start getting your questions through via Twitter and also from the people that are sitting here in the audience. And as I said, there's many areas that we haven't even begun to touch on at the moment. Nuclear energy is one of them. Is it safe? Is it not safe? Is it something that we need to be considering? Can we afford to not do it? Shale gas is also another area. Imports, exports of energy. Can we afford to be exporting when we have deficits? All of these things are what we need to put on the table now. And let's start with table number 31. I think it says small IPP member. You'll say your name. Table, is it 31 or 3? 31.
Table 31.
Okay.
With regard to small IPP, we have seen that in the solar PV, round 1 to round 3, the average size of generation has grown steadily. So regarding round 3, we have seen that the average size was 72 megawatt generation. Is the DOE moving towards that to generate in terms of the maximum capacity? And the second question would be, the local developers seems to be sidelined when it comes to these renewable energy programs. What is your view going forward? Are you going to integrate more local developers, or are you going to allow the international players to dominate this market? Thank you.
Okay, perhaps we can just start by giving us an overview of what the role of these IPPs are in terms of your policy and energy mix. What are they supposed to be doing? And if you could answer his questions then.
If I may begin. South Africa is a coal-rich country. It's a natural resource that we have. But Cabinet in 2011 decided on the remit of our energy mix. And the following percentages remain relevant. Namely, for renewables, it's 42%. For nuclear, 23%. For coal, 15%, for gas, 15%, and for hydro, 6%. The importance of the independent power producers is that they operate in the renewable energy space. The importance of the issues articulated by the gentleman who just spoke is that in the provinces where the renewable energy program has been rolled out to a greater extent over the past 3 years, the Northern Cape, the Eastern Cape, and parts of the Western Cape, what we emphasize is the role of local players. Initially, because the concept was new, it was highly developed in other countries, a lot of importation had to take place. A number of the companies that are operative in South Africa have partnered with international role players, but they are also entirely black-owned companies that we encourage to operate in that space. So in doing so, we ensure that the local programs, there is a role that local communities where these programs are based play a role in deciding on the employment, the monitoring of the program, and we also lay great emphasis on skills development, local skills development, and local participation by role players, so that we ensure that the local communities where the power producers programs take place also stand to benefit from them in the real sense of the word.
Okay. Deputy DG, Ministers talked about IPPs taking their place in the renewable energy environment. Can't they go mainstream? We can't have just the state-owned enterprise managing for us. I would imagine that there's a space for private entities as well to provide electricity.
Well, let's put it into context, Peter. The extent to which we need new generation capacity is such that ESCOM alone would not be able to deal with that. I mean, that's the first point. The second point is that there is no sidelining of the locals as such. This is largely about bringing foreign direct investment into the country. So to the extent that locals can bring that amount of money into the program, this is very welcome. In fact, what happens is that there is insistence in the framework, in the procurement framework, that 40% minimum must be local. So that facilitates, South African investors also participating in this program. But I think the last point I want to make in relation to this is that there is also in the pipeline what we call a small IPP program. In other words, the one that is more, if you like, facilitative is the program for local developers to participate without the onerous, transactional costs, without the big equity requirements in the bidding process and so on. So there is no sidelining as such, but it's more about, getting off the ground and making sure that we bring investment into the country, and then ultimately, making sure that South Africans also take the rightful place in that program.
Ms. Beleni, is this something that NERSA is watching? I mean, will we have a situation one day where we will have a choice who supplies us our power?
Amongst the things we have to do is to act in accordance with the laws and government and published government policy as the regulator. And there is published government policy around the different energy mix and the different energy sources. And we have seen that the plan is to increase renewables and other types of energy sources, and we will license accordingly.
All right. Well, one energy source that we haven't talked about now yet, but Sunny Morgan, table number 11, is going to bring it up for us. Sunny, table number 11.
My name is Sunny Morgan. I'm a co-founder of the South African Nuclear New Build Consortium. And the simple question to the Honourable Minister is, when will a definitive and conclusive decision be made about when the nuclear build program will proceed, or if indeed it will proceed? Second question. Sorry, I wrote two questions.
Yeah.
And a simpler question for the table is, when will net metering be introduced into the discussion?
Net metering?
Yes, that's correct.
For our viewers, what is that?
The ability to offset your consumption by your own production.
Okay, all right. Okay, so nuclear build. This has been on the table for years now. I remember even speaking to Energy Minister Dikobe Peters about this, and we always got a sense that there was an imminent announcement, but imminent seems to be going on and on and on and on. Minister, when?
I must say that the announcement is still imminent. It's still imminent because of a number of factors. Towards the end of last year, there's an interdepartmental team that has the responsibility to prepare for the nuclear build program. An interdepartmental team that involves the Department of Energy, the Department of Public Enterprises, National Treasury, and a few other departments, about 7 departments. We conducted study visits to a number of countries that have expertise in the nuclear field. The United States of America, Russia, Japan, South Korea, and a few others, in order to look at the space. What technologies are available on the market, and as we proceed with our own nuclear build, what better suits our South African conditions? We also have to remember that currently in South Africa, we have Quebec that's operative, that we had started with the French, and in our visits, as I said earlier, we visited all countries. So that's work in progress. A report has been prepared. This report will be given to this interdepartmental committee. That's the groundwork is done by the Department of Energy. But that particular committee is chaired by His Excellency President Zuma.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'm going to stop you for a second because I just need to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll finish this to get more clarity. And I'm going to try and push you for a timeline. I know you said imminent, but maybe a latest date so that we all kind of have an idea of where we're going. So I'll give you 2 minutes to think of an answer there.